Hi guys, welcome to a GTA 5 video. This is another review where I'm going to do a quick comparison between the regular Lazer jet and a Hydra jet. And really, I'm not going to be comparing performance or anything like that. I'm just going to be comparing looks of the jets and looking at the differences in the size. So as you can see straight away, you can actually see a significant size between the Lazer and the Hydra. Previously I'd actually thought they were pretty much the same size, same speed. That didn't really feel too much better, but if you look at these guys, you'll notice how huge the Hydra looks next to the Lazer, right? The Lazer basically looks like a baby jet, right? So anyway, I was a little surprised to see that myself. I mean, both are good looking vehicles, but the Hydra definitely stands out to be a much nicer looking, more meatier version of the Lazer, right? So, and that was kind of interesting to see. So I mean, I guess the Hydra's probably built more on the Harrier jet, and you know, but to see the actual the differences was interesting. So now I'm actually just looking at the back here, just kind of trying to see the differences by looking at the back. And they look pretty similar. I mean, even from the front, they look pretty similar. You got kind of the intakes that are much larger on the Hydra, but ultimately, you know, they do look very similar in terms of you know, the look, right? So I'm also going to do a little bit of you know, I heard people were standing on top of the jets and flying around and stuff. So I'm going to actually see how possible that is and if it's doable. I just can't see that you could stand on there very long. If you go very slowly, I suppose that you could stand on there, but you know, whether you can actually stand on there and fly around downtown and shoot people, I'm not quite sure. I don't think you'd be able to do it for very long, because someone would probably shoot you down in seconds, right? So anyway, we'll do a comparison. So yeah, you go. We have the Lazer, we have the Hydra, and then I'm going to stand on top of the Hydra in a minute or two, and see how well I can actually do that, right? But as you can see, much larger, and I'm going to say the same thing I said in my previous video, is definitely worth buying. If you're still on the fence on whether you should buy it or not, I would definitely recommend you buy it. I mean, it is the first jet that you can buy, and it just makes sense that you can actually buy it and then mess around with it, do missions with it. You know, it's very cool, right? So definitely worth the 3 million in my opinion. To buy it, because you can do it. Just changes the missions up. You can do fun things. You can go and do, you know, all different missions with it, even if you don't want to. And you can have it. You can call it at the whim, and it'll deliver it either to this airport, Trevor's hangar as well. It'll deliver to all the main airports. So I mean, it's relatively easy to get to, or call, or go pick up if you need to, right? So I mean, this one, I'm actually doing the FN Lasers mission, yeah, and I didn't expect it to actually deliver it here, but it actually delivered it right next to these lasers, which was perfect, right? So sometimes it does actually deliver it where you don't expect it, but in this case, you know, it delivered it right here. So just a note about FN Lasers for those who don't know. It is working again. We did run through it. I wanted to see if it actually did work again. They finally fixed it. So if you guys haven't had a chance to finish it yet, go ahead and do that, because it does actually work now, right? So here we go. I'm standing on top of the Hydra. As you can see, as soon as you move around or do a little bit bumping, and you can see my friend here isn't really going up too fast. He's actually going up really slowly. But as you can see, I'm just falling over, right? As you would probably expect. So I mean, I suppose you could fly around and just kind of stay on there and get up. There's no real way to kind of stay up there and stay on top of it and fly around at any fast pace, right? So, you know, if you had a group of friends, you could kind of mess around, I suppose. But in terms of being in a public lobby, you wouldn't stand a chance for very long, right? So, but yeah, you can actually stand on. You can go fairly, as you can see, we are fairly high off the ground right now. As you can see, I'm having difficulty trying to get up and stay up, but you know, I'm sure, yeah, as I saw, they're gonna just fall off, but high enough you can actually, I mean, we did get pretty high, they can actually parachute down here, right? So there you go. Hope you like the comparison. Like I said, definitely buy it, or wait to buy it. I mean, the two vehicles that I have the Valkyrie, I have the Savage, I obviously have the Buzzard. You know, I mean, out of all the vehicles that I've or enjoy the most, it's probably going to be be the Kuruma and the Hydra are probably favorites, and then I'd probably suggest the Savage is pretty cool, but it's very similar to the Buzzard. So if you don't have a Buzzard, I'd recommend you get a Buzzard first. If you do have a Buzzard, then yeah, get the Savage, because it is a nice looking helicopter, right? It's a little bit heavier to fly around. You just kind of have to get used to it, maneuvering it. If you get too low to the ground, you can end up crashing into the ground because it is much a heavier thing. But it's definitely a much nicer looking helicopter than the Buzzard, right? But you know, if you kind of undecided whether you can only afford the Buzzard or the Savage or the Hydra, and you're undecided, it's kind of a tough call to make, because they're all pretty useful. I mean, I'd probably go with the Hydra, because it can really do what the Buzzard does. You know, in terms of hovering and shooting stuff up and messing around. It's a little bit more difficult to get hold of, because the Buzzard does actually spawn in a few more locations, like in Pleader Bay and stuff. But other than that, I mean, it's definitely a much nicer looking aircraft than any of those put together, right? I mean, just look at it. It's just a magnificent piece of machinery here, right? So, but anyway, it's up to you. Definitely get the Kuruma, get the Hydra. If you've got extra money, get the Savage. And if you really got a lot more money to spend, then the Valkyrie is pretty cool. But it's really a useless helicopter unless you have a bunch of friends you want to go around shooting stuff up. It's a pretty cool helicopter to fly around. The only disappointment to me with the Valkyrie is the pilot can't actually shoot stuff. I mean, I actually fly it around quite often just because I like the actual propeller wingspan, if you will. I like the long propellers. It looks pretty cool. It is a nice looking helicopter, but it's an unfortunate. But I don't really use it that often. I probably use the Hydra and the Savage the most out of those vehicles, right? And you know, unless you've got extra cash, then you know, all your friends will go grief and stuff, then you'll get the Valkyrie, right? But I mean, all of them are pretty cool vehicles. It's just depends which ones you can afford at this moment, right? So, well, there you go. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.